usual thing when I'm. Have you latched onto AI and Chat GBT yet?
Yes. Yeah. I have. Yeah.
Cool. How are you finding it?
Um. Yeah, I quite like it. I kind of the sort of stuff that I tend to use it for would be um like website stuff. If we need
Yeah.
a bit of stuff on the website, and it's just need to slightly reword stuff. Most of the time, I'm still editing what it gives me.
Yeah.
But it just sort of gives me sort of a bit of a direction on like, that's a better way to word stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously I've typed random stuff in there just to see what it would
Yeah.
say. Yeah, it's quite entertaining sometimes.
Yeah. I've got a client of mine, Tom. He's a ex sort of strongman powerlifter guy. Lives where I live on the Isle of Man. He's in software engineering. He runs this like really cool company, and he's known about this sort of stuff for years. And he's been trying to get me to sort of experiment and try with it. Morning, Pat. And recently I downloaded the Chat GBT app because I thought I don't want to contribute to the downfall of humanity, and I don't want the robots attacking. I was like, rah, rah, rah. And then I downloaded the app and I tried it, and I was like, fuck me, this is amazing. So I'm now upgraded to like the £15 a month version, and it's even balmier. Like on the app, there's like like Ask Siri on your phone.
Yeah.
You can talk to it, and within a split second of you talking, it's replying as if it's an actual person, and the replies are immaculate. The voice is you cannot tell it's not someone live talking to you. And I've started using it for, like you said, to refine, to build skeletons of things that I then edit and build upon. But it's and people are talking about it's taken away from the creativity. I'd argue it's actually allowing me to be more creative with writing and with production and stuff, and also time management. Rather than taking 10 hours to build something on Excel, it takes an hour now for me to be putting all the input to edit, to do that. So I've gained back 9 hours on a project when I didn't have before. So it's making me even more productive with my time. And I get where that can lead. I really do. I get all the objections to it and everything. But as a tool for like production and editing and creativity, it's insane. So it's one of those. I might come back to that a bit later with the ChatGPT. So cheers for joining me, Owen. Really appreciate you being here.
Pleasure.
Southampton, you're based there. Did you grow up in Southampton?
Yep, I've literally grown up here. I've been here predominantly all my life. There was like a couple years where I moved to London. Apart from that, always Southampton.
Yeah, lovely. And did I read somewhere in a comment? It was, I think, is one of your videos where you were entered into a 40-44 category, and you replied to someone saying that you're 40. Is that correct? Yeah. I tried finding it anywhere your age, and it is in one little comment on a thread that I found it. I'm 40 as well. I turned 40 in March, and there's
March as well.
Oh, what's your birthday?
24th.
Oh, I'm the 11th, so I'm officially older than you by about a week. Cool. Well, happy 40th for the other month. Feel any changes yet or not?
In regards to training, yes. Not so much to strength. Like my strength's still going.
Yeah.
Recovery aspect. That's what I've started to notice, where a big heavy session takes it out of me. Like it's like a week, and I'm kind of like, geez. Whereas I could just do back to back, like heavy sessions all the time. So now it's like I have to just do more to help with recovery, like red light and stuff like that, and oxygen chambers, anything I can just to help optimize recovery.
Yeah, I get that. And the sort of loads that you're kind of pushing and pulling at are going to be even more dramatic, I guess, than your average sort of strength athlete or gym goer. So it's funny, isn't it? Like, I know you've been doing this a long time, and obviously for a very, long time compared to most people. Probably similar to you. I started I had a little York gym set in my garage when I was growing up, and bench and bicep curls, listening to Led Zeppelin and all that in the garage with my dad. But 13, 14 years old, for the best part of 20 years, till I was about 34, 35, I was like, nah, it's not going to happen to me. Like if I just stay conditioned, if I keep up the strength, if I eat pretty well, that's not going to affect me as much as they're all being dramatic. They're all being, over egging it. And then literally I turned 35 and one of the discs burst in my neck and I had to have a replacement disc. My knees went to shit and I've been offered knee surgery, but I haven't done it. I've just built up the quads and hamstrings again. I'm avoiding as much. But it was literally like 35th, like 2020, turned 35 and my body just went, nah, you're not having this. But I think, like you said, I think like your strength has continued in those incremental kind of like maintenance and growth. But I think you get a lot smarter with your time. And I think the knowledge and the wisdom that comes with that, your recovery and your rehab gets a lot better. So therefore, when you are lifting, you're a lot prepared. And because you're prioritizing that out 2 hours of the gym, it's actually much more beneficial than 10 years ago when you're in there for an hour.
No,
you're getting a lot out of it.
Yeah. Me and my colleague always say, imagine if we had the knowledge we have now back then when we were first competing and stuff.
It's funny, isn't it? You get like a 65-year-old saying, oh, I wish I knew this when I was 50. You get a 50-year-old saying, I wish I knew this when I was 40. You get a 40-year-old saying, I wish I knew this when I was 30. That all filters down. I had a few younger athletes on the last sort of couple of months, and one of them's fucking 13.
Wow.
And she's she can clean and jerk like close to 80. She's snatching close to 62. Like she's a force to be reckoned with. And like she does like gymnastics and CrossFit kind of stuff as well. But insanely talented. And she's saying she's been doing it 2 years. She's like, I wish I found this when I was younger. I was like, fuck off. Like don't come to me with that shit. So one thing I was going to touch on a bit later, but we'll talk about it now as it's here, is I've spoken to quite a few men and women over the last sort of few months, and a lot of them, I don't know if it's biased from my perspective, a lot of them are early 40s. So 39, 40, 41, 42, around that area, right? And what I'm finding is we're of an age where we've got enough experience now where we know what we're talking about.
Yep.
We've got enough experience personally from having gone through it and coached it to others that we do that. But also we've got full access to the internet, to programming, to all these protocols, to all the education that the people that came before us have got this. We're in this really cool little bubble in time within our corner of the world in terms of strength, where I think we're in quite a unique position that no one's really been in before, where we've got that experience, we're doing it long enough, and also we can parlay that onto the younger generations. And I don't think many people have had that access to broadly open up to as many people as we can. I think it's pretty cool. It's a really big opportunity for people like yourself, and I'm sure we can come onto that in a bit with your coaching. So just to rewind again, so family, growing up in Southampton, how was your family life growing up? Pretty normal?
Cool. Yeah, just standard. It was all good. Pretty decent. Upbringing.
And school, how did you find school? Were you academic or not really?
School, I was, but a lot of the time I chose just to mess around.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a bit up and down. I was just more interested in sport, if I'm honest, at school.
Yeah.
Just sport. I mean, I still got the qualifications I needed, but I made a meal out of it, just messing around a lot. Yeah.
It's quite a familiar top line of education in blokes that I speak to. Women not so much. I think women tend to peak a little bit earlier in terms of mentally and being able to sit down and actually concentrate. Generally speaking. So how far did you get in education? Did you do A levels? Did you get that far?
Yeah.
Cool.
I did music and sports studies.
Nice. Cool. Okay. And was that until you were 18 you were in education?
18. Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
What was your next step after that then?
Next step was working full time. I was doing I was split between warehouse work, like forklift driving.
Yep.
And I was DJing full time in the evenings.
Really?
So at that point, my career was music.
Amazing.
From like 16 till I was about 30, it was music.
Oh man, and in Southampton as well.
Yeah, well, I was all over.
Right. Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay.
It was like, so I was working for like Def Jam and Sony BMG as a tour DJ. So any of their artists that bring out new albums, I'd go to all the clubs around the country with shit ton of like albums, posters, and whatnot.
Oh.
Obviously, DJ the night, give away freebies, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like the artist, yeah.
Oh, amazing! Do you know what, on my flow that I showed you earlier, I've got that in there.
No
music.
Way. Okay. Yeah.
It's like it's this thing that's been sort of hovering centrally in my life the whole time. I find it's part of me, and I associate pretty much all my memories with a song or some kind of music. Yeah. And now, like for me, I've got two favorite albums of all time, and I can't ever decide which one's which. It's probably nostalgia because they came out around the same time, but it's Verve Urban Hymns and Artful Dodger, all about the Stragglers. Now I know Artful Dodger were from your area.
Yeah.
Obviously, Craig David came up at the same time from Southampton. For a lot of people outside the UK, like they probably won't know where Southampton is, but it makes sense. It's on the south coast. It's sort of we used to go there. We used to travel down from where I was near Windsor. We used to travel down the M3 and just an hour away, and we used to go down there just for the clubs and just go down there and stay overnight and go down there. An incredible scene that sort of goes under the radar quite a lot, I think.
Yeah. Especially many years ago. I don't know what it's like now because I just don't go out, but it's pretty good. Yeah.
No, it was awesome. Cool. So lovely city to grow up in. And do you still dabble in the music side of it? Is it still, or is it just basically passion now?
It's so yes and no. It's kind of, so I've rebought, because my main thing was production, making music. That was the main thing. And I've rebought everything. I have all the equipment. It hasn't made it out of the boxes and plugged into the computer. It is something that I want to start doing as like downtime to take my mind off work, because I just work constant. And I think if I want to use that to sort of pull me away from it, take an hour, 2 hours and just tunnel vision on music, because I can do that. If I start doing music, I'm just switch off from the world. But yeah, I haven't literally done anything since I think I was about 30, so 10 years I haven't got involved with anything like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was a story that reminded me. There's a story a little while ago. There was a Pioneer, the main guys that who's the brand that makes all the decks and everything, like the big Pioneer. Yeah. There was this music teacher in the UK, and there was a school, and he was retiring after like 40 years there. Okay. And he went into this cupboard that he hadn't been in for like 30 years. Buried in the corner, he's getting all his kit out and retiring and clearing it all out. And he found this unopened Pioneer box, and it was this set, like this DJ decks from like the mid 80s, I think it was. And it was pristine, and it was like a collector's item, and it's worth like fucking tens of thousands of pounds. Wow. That was a little while ago. It was probably a couple of months ago I saw that, but he was like over the moon that he'd found it. He's not selling it, he's keeping it. He's like, this is mine. Like, I bought this. He'd forgotten it was sat in his cupboard for like 30 years. Is music important to you when you train?
Yes. Maybe not so much when I train. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I train in silence. I quite like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes music, it's a big part when I compete though. I'd say my pre-performance routine is solely based around music. That's how I get myself into that flow state, if we want to call it.
Right.
Yeah.
And might be a personal question, and you don't have to answer me. What songs and what style of music? It might just be style of music, you can let me know. But what sort of stuff do you have on your playlist?
So what have I got? I'll tell you, hold on. I've got a playlist called Flow State.
Nice.
I only listen to it. I don't listen to it outside of competition.
No. Are you the type of person like I've got similar sort of playlists for different stuff,
Yeah.
and if any of those songs come on away from there, I've got to turn it off. I can't have it play. Right, okay. You've got to pick those songs carefully though, because they are reserved for that.
Exactly.
You know, and you can't listen to it elsewhere.
No, that's it. That's why I don't want to get desensitized to them where it doesn't have that same effect.
Yeah.
But mine are basically I'm massively into like UK music, so like UK grime, UK drill, all that kind of stuff. So I've got that side, but then I love like score music, like like Hans Zimmer, Steve Jodorowsky.
Yeah.
I love them. So it's kind of like depending on that moment, I'll flick between those two styles. It's usually those two styles.
Wow. Yeah.
Hans Zimmer's a big one, I think.
Yeah, man, he kicks out some bangers, doesn't he? Like I think Interstellar's like been the main like fucking soundtrack to TikTok for the last 5 years. But yeah, I mean, talk about dramatic and evoking that emotion, and I don't get how people don't get that. I'll put anything on. Fuck no. I want a detailed breakdown of these songs. But yeah, all good. Right, so get back on track. School, good. Sport. Now, I saw. You're right. I saw that Taekwondo. It looked like Taekwondo was one of your earliest sports that you excelled in. Would that be the case?
Yeah. I started that when I was 4.
Wow. Okay.
So started at 4. Started competing in full contact at 5. I couldn't tell you. I know I had at least 50 fights. I couldn't tell you the number, like a lot. I was fighting all the time. At the peak, like I won like national titles in Taekwondo. I was for like 20 years. I was like the youngest black belt in the UK because I got my black belt at 8.
Shit.
And then second dan black belt at 12. At that point is when I started to not really be interested in the belts anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think once you get to like second dan black belt, it's kind of like you have to wait like 3 years for the third, 4 years for the fourth. It becomes a long process that I wasn't interested in. And then I probably stopped Taekwondo at around school, sort of 16, just near the end of school, 15, 16.
Right. So 2001.
Yeah, about then. Yeah.
Right. It's easy for me to do those maths because I'm the same age. So.
Yeah, exactly.
So from 97 till about 2001, you're looking at being a double black belt in Taekwondo. So what lessons do you think that you still to this day learned from having martial arts as a kid? And I'll come on to why I've asked you that in a bit.
Yeah. I'd say definitely a big part of that was my mentality towards being disciplined in whatever it is I'm doing, and kind of like doing everything I possibly can to make sure I achieve whatever it is, because that's what was kind of drilled into me from my instructor. He was quite brutal, and it was kind of like, we're doing this and there's no other option. Don't know how good it was as a 5-year-old, but I mean, it's paid off. Yeah, it's worked. Yeah, for sure. I'd say that's one of the biggest things for me that I took from that, for sure.
Okay.
Desensitized me to violence, which I don't know how good that is.
It can be a productive thing.
Yeah.
I think as long as you've got the tools to recognize when it's necessary and when it's not.
Well, that's it. Yeah, exactly that.
And that comes, and feeding back to what you said about the discipline side of it. And I think for any kid, learning how to distinguish between when violence is necessary and when it isn't, because unfortunately, we're animals. We've got a little bit upstairs than other animals, but we are animals. And that physicality and that work ethic and martial arts educates children and adults, but children on when it's appropriate to be physical and when and more so when it isn't. Kids that have come up through martial arts, or, you know, whether it's boxing, karate, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, whatever it is, they've got a much better understanding of how to avoid violence more than anything. It's this strange paradigm where kids that have done that know when not to, whereas kids that haven't done that, they have no idea when not to be physical and violent.
Very true. It's
this weird counterintuitive thing that comes with it, you know. So
tell you what, something else actually from it was, I think, just being more athletic and things is what I've taken from that, which has allowed me. It's just allowed me to cross over into so many things later on in life. Because I think if you don't have that early on, it's difficult to get it in the later years.
Yes, and I think we'll come on to the strength sports in a bit, but I think for adults, strength sport is a good way of doing that, and to enshrine hard work with discipline and understanding limits or limitations and plans to get around that, and obviously physically it's a little bit more difficult to get into things later on. So the reason I said about that, my kids, and Pat's just Pat's in the chat. It's my kids have they've got the first jiu-jitsu tournament in Liverpool in 3 weeks' time. So my daughter's about to turn 8 tomorrow, it's birthday, and my son's 6, and they're doing jiu-jitsu 4 times a week now. So we introduced it to them. We've got at our gym, there's a corner with some mats. They started getting into it. They've got a coach now, wants them to go to competition. The difference I've seen between the two of them is remarkable. So my daughter has got this sense of confidence around boys and girls, but especially boys, where she's not afraid necessarily of being around people. And before, she wasn't afraid, but there was this 7-year-old girl that was a bit intimidated by physicality. Now that's gone. That is gone.
Cool.
My son didn't struggle, but emotionally, he was a 5-year-old, 6-year-old boy that was going through a lot of, you know, you get this testosterone boost when you're 5, and things start to change mentally, and the ability for him to stay calm under pressure, emotional regulation is a huge part of any martial art. Like, but you used to hear it about boxing, you know, about the kids that were coming up, and understanding that you're getting punched in the face. If you fly off the handle, you're getting found out, and you're on the floor. That choice to stay calm and getting around the fact that if you do let your emotions get out of hand, you're going to lose out. And it's so massive for kids, especially like in these, you know, these sort of days. Do you think that impacted you with your emotional regulation as a kid and into adulthood? Do you think that helped?
Yeah, definitely. I think it had a massive transfer, because in all the sports I've gone into moving forward, I've dealing with pressure in high pressure situations in competition. I'm able to deal with very well, and still keep myself in that zone and focus on obviously whatever the challenge is, rather than sort of like, oh my god, shit. So I think it's just been a natural thing that I've never really had to work on. It's just something I'm able to do very well, and I would only say it's definitely come from that, for sure.
No. And again, the flip side of that is the adults. Like you get your Elon Musk's, your Mark Zuckerberg's, your people that are quite clearly good under pressure. Like, you know, you've got to be fairly good under pressure to excel in some form or another. They take up martial arts very easily, because they've got that ability to go, right, deal with what's at hand, calm, let's deal with it. So, and jiu-jitsu for adults now, I know I keep saying jiu-jitsu, but it's the most, I'd probably say it's the most common and mainstream one, and it's in vogue and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so talking of jiu-jitsu, at what point did MMA come about for you? What age?
quite old, I think. It was like I was about 23.
Right.
Is when I actually stepped foot into a gym, MMA gym. I'd known about it for years before, for years, because I kept watching Cage Rage. You remember Cage Rage?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, kept watching it on TV, and I was like, I need this. I need to do this. And eventually, when I was about 23 is when I right, let's do it.
Cool. And what brought you there? Like, what made you first step foot into the gym to find out what it was? Was it someone or something that sort of was that kick up the bum?
It was literally from watching it, and it was just kind of like, the thing is, if I see something and I'm like, I can do that, I reckon I'd be good at that. I want to do it.
Yeah.
So, and I think I just missed martial arts, because at this point I'd quit Taekwondo. Music was going very well as a career, but I missed some kind of sport or something more physical. I just missed it. And for me, martial arts was an easy fallback, because I kind of knew the ins and outs. So I just thought, you know what, let's just give it a go and see what happens. And it was only to do as a hobby, if I'm honest. It was just, that was the intention. It was just a hobby to keep mentally sane while doing music.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And again, it sounds like it's something that you're trying to find again at the moment with your music. You know, that's your escape.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
it's
Exactly that.
It's your way out of the world for half an hour or an hour. Good. I could pull up so many different videos at the moment. There's if you YouTube your name, Owen Gayle, if you YouTube that, guys, and you look up, the first thing that sort of pops up at the top, but Owen Gayle, obviously a lot of lifting stuff, but then scroll down a little bit and there's a lot of MMA stuff. So
unfortunately, it's not my best ones online.
Hey?
I said, unfortunately, it's not my best ones online.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Back then, it wasn't like how it was now, and videos they weren't put out. You know, like now, if you have a fight, the show's putting it on YouTube. It wasn't like that then. So it was kind of like what we used to do was put a few good ones up, and then we'd potentially put ones where I didn't look as good to try, because that's what my opponents would see.
Yeah.
But now looking back, I'm like, that's what people see now.
Yeah, for memory's sake, just having the good ones up. So what year? So you said you started out at the age of about 23. So we're looking at
maybe.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So about 2008. Now, had you been lifting in the meantime there? I'm going to kind of direct it towards the powerlifting side of stuff. Had you street lifting and that kind of down the barbell route. So what had you done up to them?
I was going to the gym. It was kind of like, what should we do today? Biceps, triceps? Yeah. Bench, no legs. There was no direction. It was kind of like winging it in the moment. It wasn't consistent. It was like, let's go to the gym today. Maybe one week it'll be once a week, maybe 3 times another week. That's kind of, it was as and when I could fit it in, because like DJing was almost every night of the week. So by the time I wake up in the morning, I'm like, it's either I'm waking up very late, so I miss most of the day, or I have to go work at a factory as well. So like gym was just as and when I could fit it in.
Right. And there was no real direction.
It was just, I guess, just typical gym bro. Let's just lift some weights until you hit failure. Yeah. Which, in hindsight was probably a good phase for you to build a base on. Yeah.
Which is great. So MMA, when did you stop in MMA?
So there's 2 periods in which I stopped.
Okay.
So I first retired in 2012. Okay. That was the first time that I retired. And then I made a comeback in 2015.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And when did that phase?
That 2016. It
cool.
wasn't even a year. It was probably in the space of 6 months, because it was like I probably started back mid 2015.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah,
2016 obviously ends. Is there a bit of a wilderness between 16 and when you start having direction with your training towards barbell sport?
Yeah, so that would have been all the way back in 2009 is when that started. So a year after I started MMA is when I got into training and coaching seriously.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2009 you started coaching. Now in terms of your coaching, what was your forte, what was your spin on the side of coaching when you first started?
So when I first started, so the brand that I'm under, Winning Strength, that was where I started.
Yep.
And it was kind of, it was a bit of everything. It was strength. It was like fat loss, athletic performance. It was just a bit of everything. But we were learning under. Do you know a strength coach called Charles Poliquin?
Yes.
Yeah. So the guy that I work with, Tom, who's the founder of Winning Strength, that was his mentor.
Wow. Okay.
And then so I got to learn. So obviously I've learned under Tom, but I also got to learn with Charles as well, because we were like the UK hub for Charles to come over to run courses.
Oh,
so yeah,
amazing.
It's pretty cool. So I was just in the right place at the right time to start learning, which was good because I was a blank canvas. So I learned literally from them guys from scratch. So it was kind of, I guess, kind of Poliquin style. And then it's just evolved over the years into more strictly strength performance and athletic performance. Yeah.
So I just pulled up the Instagram account for people to go over to see the online stuff. So this is the Winning Strength online central account.
Yeah. That's like a mixture of all the different coaches. Whatever they post is also collabed on there.
Excellent.
That's what that one is. Yeah. There's a Winning Strength Southampton. That's just like our hub. That's just the gym. This is probably more of the main one.
Yes.
This is everyone.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. So yeah, check that out if and when you're online, guys. So 2009, you start there. Did you build up a base of clientele between 2009 and 2016 when you sort of finished with MMA completely?
No. So at that, when I first started there, how it was working was I was just a coach at the gym. And how we used to run things, it was semi-private coaching.
Cool.
So it would be, we were running on Excel spreadsheets back then. Let's say there's 8 clients in on that hour. I'd have an Excel spreadsheet printed out on a piece of paper for each of those 8 clients. And it'll be a case of, I'll be going, right, your first movement's this, these many reps, this tempo, I'll do that to each person. They'd go around. I'd have to dot around. I'd write in all their numbers and stuff on paper. And that's kind of what it was. So I was kind of coaching the gym clients. So that's how the system worked at the gym.
Great.
I wasn't doing like PT and anything like that, online coaching, nothing like that during that period.
And do you know what? I think you're probably, you might agree with me here. That is a superb and I would say optimal way of learning your trade.
100%.
And put in the hours. I think a lot of what we see these days with the online guys, and this is no disrespect, I do a lot of online coaching as well. So it's not dissing online coaching, but the in-person small group work where you've got a platform, you've got a framework. However, we are what I'd call scaling. You're changing the loads, changing the degree of things that people are doing, optimizing it for their performance and their goal setting. I think the ability to be able to adapt and to change and to focus and to observe a whole room of people, spot the flaw, triage, having a look, adapt, pass on information, and also as a coach, like in learning, you are in practice learning by seeing, by hearing, by discussion. What an incredible foundation to build upon.
No, for sure. And it was like extremely high pressure, especially because we were essentially running under kind of like how Charles Poliquin would run things, which is crazy strict.
Yeah.
Like crazy strict. So it was tough. And like there was definitely moments when I was like, I don't know if I can do this, because it is hard. It's hard, especially when you're still learning as well. And I don't know everything. But I think that is literally one of the best things that could have happened to me in terms of, for me, transitioning into a full-time coach by far.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. You've got 7, a solid 7 years of doing that, which is amazing. And what an opportunity for you as a young coach to be able to seize that. And I mean, I know that's paid dividends now. So coaching, I'll probably come back to coaching in a bit, because that's one of my passions. And I think I advocate a lot for really good coaching methods and gyms that really offer that. And like I said earlier, all the gyms that circle around strength, you've got strongman, powerlifting, weightlifting, CrossFit, they're all in some form engaged around strength.
Yes.
As a priority. There's a lot of crossover, but I think we've definitely seen a boom over the last decade in that. And access to groups, and one of them is females. So women in the gym, I would probably argue I see much more in terms of numbers, more women in the gym now actually wanting to learn and get strong than guys being coached in the gym. Now, I don't work in commercial gyms. I work in private gyms that have clientele that either pay monthly or PT rates. The people that are willing to learn and be coached and have programs and are willing to be coached take a particular state of mind and want and desire to do that. And because of that, I think that's why I see a lot more females in in our neck of the woods, so to speak, in the gym kind of arena. With your gym now, do you emphasize the difference between wanting to compete in the power sports, let's call them for now, and recreational and longevity and health? Do you find you're able to discern and coach people without reflecting back towards the sport, or do you use the sport as a framework for how you coach with people?
I mean, yeah, I guess there's a similarity. I mean, the majority of our members anyway are there because we don't promote any more like Gen Pop stuff. No. Everything is athletic performance, strength performance. Not to say that we don't get Gen Pop in, but nothing really much changes. Like the way that we look at everyone is kind of like, regard whether you want to be the next world champion in whatever sport, or you just want to improve health and whatever, we just want everyone to have the same mind, like elite mentality and mindset towards training. Like, it doesn't matter what the actual end goal is, as long as they've got that same elite mentality towards everything and they'll put the work in. That's the main thing that we're looking for.
Do you know what? I didn't forewarn you about that question, and I didn't tell you and preempt you what I wanted you to say, but you've literally just scripted the perfect answer for what I was after. Yeah. Without getting into the details and the weeds of it all, at the moment, there's this within the CrossFit world, which is part of what I do. There's this. People are trying to discern what's going on, and in the good old days, it was called Forging Elite Fitness, and it was the strap line of CrossFit. It was literally, it would have CrossFit, and then underneath it would say Forging Elite Fitness. And they were proud of that, and they wanted to have this mentality of forging elite fitness. That doesn't mean everyone was going to be an elite athlete, go into the the games or go into an event. It was forging this. Everyone was doing the similar, by degree, not kind. So everyone was doing the same sort of stuff, but it varied by degree to what extent you did it. And it was this linear thing. Everyone did the same shit, and it was forging this.
Yeah.
And it sounds like what you've just said. You've basically hit the nail on the head. And I love that. I love the fact that everyone does the same stuff or is on the same trajectory, trying to build this and trying to build that elite mindset, which is beautiful. I think a lot of people need to refocus that way rather than just going in and just doing sandbags, high-fiving, all about the iWatch and how many calories you've burned. In a strength gym, that doesn't translate. It's not what we do. We're getting strong.
Yeah.
And the basics and the foundations of strength are all pretty basic.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, anyway, sorry, I went off on a bit of a thing.
No, cool. All good.
So I'm going to veer away a little bit now from coaching. I want to focus back on your performance side of stuff. So obviously in the last couple of weeks, I've looked a hell of a lot into you as an athlete and for your performance, and the list is fucking endless. Like I'm not going to list it all. What I will do though, for ease, so I've got a framework in front of me. I'll pull up your page, your bio on the Winning Strength website. So what I want to predominantly focus on is from this part on upwards. So the powerlifting. So I know this is obviously recent because it's M1, Masters 1.
Yeah.
All of these strength achievements and these world records and these national records and the street lifting. What came first out of all of that? What was the first foray into the elite strength world? What was the first step for you?
The first step for me. How do you mean exactly?
So in time, so let's think about, you got street lifting, you got powerlifting, you got strongman. Which of those came first? Which was your first sort of channel?
Yes, street lifting was first, in terms of like an elite level. Yeah.
And what year would that have been?
What are we now? 25. Do you know what?
Can't remember.
No, I think it was either last year,
right,
or maybe 23.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Relatively recent then. So the last couple of years.
Yeah. I think it was the end of 23, like right at the end of 23.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. And because there's a bit of gap there between your coaching, you're getting real fucking strong under Poliquin, you're learning the methods, you're in the gym, you're getting pretty strong yourself in terms of your general training, and then applying that strength training towards a strength goal.
Yeah.
That happens. It does happen. I think as you approach 40, you're like, oh, I'm a masters athlete now. I could probably do quite well here. But in all honesty, in the gym that I'm at, I'm pretty much up there with the top strong boys from like 30, 25 and older. Yeah. The street lifting, I had the reason you came onto my radar, and the reason I found you and was obsessed with your videos and what you're doing online and your lifts. I had Tim Reichel on from Final Rep.
Yeah.
So he was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking through Final Rep and street lifting, and I understand that they're one form of street lifting, they're one channel of it that are trying to promote the sport and regulate it and get it out there. What Final Rep are doing is fucking brilliant. Organizing it all, making it into this sport that is easily viewable, easily packaged. It's kind of similar thing to what UFC have done with MMA. They've neatly packaged it, they've branded it, they've made it accessible and viewable, and getting a few eyes on it. They started in 2021, I think Tim said, trying to formalize it and get these events on. Where did you first see street lifting? Like where did it come onto your radar?
So when I realized what it was 2023. It was April. Like I specifically remember.
Right.
It was April 2023. Before that, I'd seen it because we'd always joked like, I'd probably be quite good at that, but I didn't really know it was a sport. I just assumed it was just like a street park thing, like nothing that serious. And then I'm not sure what the video was that I saw, but whatever it was is in 2023 April, I then realized like, oh, this is a strength sport, but sort of fused with calisthenics. Because I'd already been training calisthenics for maybe like just up to 10 years in the background by that point.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, but it was more traditional, like skills and, you know, planche, iron cross, that kind of calisthenics, the traditional stuff. And yeah, as soon as I saw that, that's when I was like, this is me, because I love strength, but I didn't really want to do powerlifting. Just wasn't really that interested. Strongman, at the time, there was the smallest weight class at the time was 90 kilos, and there was no way I was going to be competitive at 90, under 90. So yeah, for me, it was just like the perfect combination, calisthenics, but also powerlifting-y strength stuff.
Yeah. And up until then, because I've seen a few videos on like deadlift doesn't transfer well for street lifting. Obviously, it's not necessarily directly involved in there. Got my own thoughts on that, but obviously you've got an insanely good deadlift as well. Like we can come on to that in a bit, but it's very specific. Now I'll pull it up now for anyone that didn't see the show with Tim from Final Rep. Give them a quick rundown of what the 4 disciplines are with it. So you get 3 attempts like a power lifting meet. Eventually it'll come up. I love the fact that it's a squat. It's my favorite movement. 1 RM pull up, 1 RM back squat, 1 RM dip, and 1 RM muscle up. And I believe the women can choose between ring and bar, and the men do bar. All right, cool.
That's it.
Some of these numbers are mental, and yours are predominantly the ones that I want to focus on, obviously. Now, as I said earlier, quite a lot of the viewers over the next sort of day or so will be from a CrossFit background, and the muscle up is like a lot for a lot of people. It's the end goal, like to be able to do one muscle up is what they practice for. Yeah. And then to see people doing it strict with chains attached with plates is like is unfathomable. So it's like it's elite, like you said, this elite thing that we kind of go towards and see. Yeah. We respect anyone in strength automatically will know and respect calisthenics with weights on it, because you've got both. Like, ask a strong man to do a pull-up. It's very rare that you'll get the strong man being able to rep out pull-ups. You know, they might be able to do a few, but it won't be easy. But on top of that, we've got these super lean guys that are able to do the best of both worlds. You know, you've got back squatting insane numbers with being able to do the calisthenics. It's the one thing that sort of drew my attention when the final rep came up on one thing. I was like, oh, what's this? Clicked on it. I was like, what is this? Why haven't I ever seen this before? And then I did a deep dive. I messaged Tim and I was like, mate, you've got to come on. I want to know everything there is about this. And then obviously your name came up. So did you, when you first found street lifting, did you want to train for it as a sport? And if so, did you book your first comp and then train for it and do a cycle towards it? Or was it a case of, right, I'm going to train and then eventually I will compete in an event?
So as soon as I saw it, I'd already decided I want to compete. I looked up and there was a comp that I saw in June. So I found out in April and there was a comp in the UK in June. So I signed up immediately. My first thing was Google what are the world records, what are the British records, what are the rankings. I want to know everything, because that was my main objective. Is
love that.
If I'm taking part, I want all of it. There wasn't, you couldn't really find that information. There wasn't anything to find that information. It's impossible. So yeah, I signed up anyway. And it was the UK Nationals is what I signed up. I managed to, I think I qualified via online. You could do like a wild card online qualifier. So I had to do that because I hadn't competed in the sport up until that point. So yeah, literally, 2 months. It had just under a 2 month block, just under, maybe 6-7 weeks.
Wow. Okay. when you went, was that that was June 23, wasn't it? Right.
Yeah.
And is that Body Strong?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool. I've watched some of the videos from the 2024 competition, the UK and Ireland nationals. So I've watched that relatively recently.
Is that the one just gone, the 25 one?
No, it was so yeah. Sorry, 25. Yeah. 25. Yeah. So I watched a few bits from that. Now, so for a lot of people, obviously, the strength sports are relatively niche still. So because we're involved in it, because we're so involved and it's all we do and we live and breathe it, we tend to think of it as this giant thing that's still massive. It really isn't. Strongman comes on in the UK at Christmas and we sit down, stuffing our faces, watching these giants do shit. Weightlifting comes around at the Olympics. This is most people at home. They'll see it at the Olympics and not have a fucking clue what it is, and they won't be able to know the difference between a deadlift and a snatch. The gymnastics obviously comes around. I'm saying calisthenics. Let's lump it in with gymnastics. But gymnastics again, it will come around every 4 years, and people will see it on the BBC at the Olympics, and they'll think, "Wow, that's amazing. We're doing all right in GB, getting bronzes, great." Powerlifting, no one has a fucking clue. It's still in the wilderness. They don't know the difference between powerlifting and weightlifting in the gym. Now, street lifting is still like in its infancy compared to all of those sports.
For sure.
What I love about, and I know final rep is one form of street lifting, and I know that they're not street lifting per se, but let's call it final rep is. What they're doing right now is building this foundation and this platform to accelerate the growth of street lifting. And they've already done a remarkable job there. And the platform that they've got, so the app that they're using, the online production to be able to host events. I keep banging on about this, but when Tim showed me, I was in complete awe in what they've done. With the presentation of viewing an event, a lot of the time that is imperative to growing the sport, to be able to show it online, to be able to people to click on it and understand it, to be able to see, right, this is what this is who this is and what they're about to do. Rankings online, commentators in the corner, and it's all done on a couple of iPads at an event. You log in via the app as an event organizer. It is insanely ahead of its time. No other strength sport has that. The final rep and street lifting are light years ahead of production than any others of the strength sports already. So there's this giant platform for it to go live and to get out there in the media world, which is awesome. I don't know if you've watched back. I'm assuming you may well have done as an athlete, but is spectating the sport as fun for you as it is to participate in some respects?
Yeah, I do like spectator more so if they're one of my athletes.
Yeah. So how many athletes do you have under your wing for street fighting, street lifting?
Street fighting. So active street lifted, probably street lifted around 30 or so.
Wow. Okay. And are they predominantly UK based or are they global?
No, probably more global than UK.
What's the UK scene like for street lifting?
It's growing, definitely growing. I'd say there's maybe, off the top of my head, 6, 7 or so elite level UK street lifters, male and female.
Yeah.
And then there's quite a big gap between them and everyone else. There's the biggest issue is there's not enough opportunities for UK athletes to compete. There's just not enough competitions happening, so it's difficult. So it's kind of like you have to sort of wait a year to compete, or you'd have to travel to like France, for example, or Spain, sort of other places in Europe close by. Okay.
And is that because of just logistics? Is it lack of people willing to put on the events?
Probably. I mean, there's only one organizer, which is who you mentioned, Body Strong. I think it's a small team, so it's difficult to put on lots of comps.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just that's all there is right now. That's it.
And a question I asked earlier about the other stuff, the difference between the community and the longevity and the training methodology, and then the sport itself. Do you think there's any opportunity for people to train street lifting without the competition, without competing? Or do you think everyone that does street lifting currently does it to compete? Is it a training method that could grow out of that?
No, it's definitely. There's loads of people I know that train street lifting, but they have no intentions to compete.
Awesome.
They just really enjoy calisthenics, and they like, getting strong. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people who've actually now transitioned to the training for street lifting, but with no intention actually to compete, for sure.
Excellent.
Yeah,
I think that will definitely grow the numbers.
Yeah,
you know, the competition side of any sport is the tip of the spear. They're the people that are the forging that elite physicality along with the mindset, but you have to have that base of people feeding into that don't necessarily want to compete at the top end, that support that, and they then become the community base that the athletes represent. It's a natural kind of growth, isn't it?
Exactly.
Is there like I don't suppose there is, but is there an ideal background for getting into street lifting? Do you think you're better off being a strength athlete and learning the calisthenics, or do you think you're better off being a calisthenics and gymnast background and then adapting that for strength with a bar?
Yeah, it's hard to say, because if you come from a more traditional strength background, you're straight away going to probably excel more in, say, the squat, which is going to be an advantage because the squat is worth more points. But then maybe you might suck at like muscle ups and stuff. I found gymnasts always seem to do well when they come into the sport. A lot of the time, it's just kind of like they just do what they do with the upper body movements. They just got to learn to squat heavy, and that just takes a little time. Climbers, boulderers, there's definitely something I've started noticing with people that have come from a bouldering background. They excel in the upper body movements in street lifting.
Right. Yeah.
And then it's just a case of bringing up their squat because they probably didn't squat before. They're probably the two. Yeah, gymnastics and bouldering is two of the big ones I've noticed.
Awesome. And again, so I'm involved with weightlifting. So I run the governing body for where I live on the Isle of Man, Middle Irish Sea. Recently set it up, and without poaching from other sports, we got like talent transfer. So I will speak to the heads of other sports like swimming. And within the last year, we've had 3 butterfly swimmers come over to weightlifting and done exceptionally well. There's a transfer there. The shoulder mobility to land in the snatch and the jerk, obviously. The hip drive, glute power, a lot of posterior chain, and that just very powerful physique. And with the mobility, it transfers very well. The only reason I asked that is because it's such a varied sport. But so my daughter did gymnastics for a few years. We wanted her to be very body aware and very able to move the body. And I think gymnastics is a key part of, like we talked about, like the martial arts earlier. I think if every kid did gymnastics to the age of 7 or 8, that there would be a lot more kind of healthy people walking around. I would tend to say that probably it's harder to learn the gymnastics side of it and the calisthenics than it is to learn how to progressively overload with plates. Especially as you get old, the older you get, obviously that's tougher. Do you think gym access for what? So your typical, I know that you've got your 3. Well, for what I could find, you've got your 3 kind of tracks for your programming that you run. The street and power, all for beginners, and the squat base stuff. So you've got your 3 kind of elements there. Can anyone pick them up and run them in a typical gym?
Yeah. They would. Yeah. All simple. Yeah, simple to do.
Cool.
I mean, I think the only tricky thing is rings. If that was what you want to use, maybe not all gyms have rings, but it seems to be more common now in a lot of gyms. But yeah, I try to make it those kind of like, this is like the pre-made stuff, right? The pre-made programs, pre-made programs. So I'm always thinking in mind of like, okay, most people probably haven't got a reverse hyperextension, so I'm not going to put a reverse hyperextension in the pre-made programs, and just use something that's more accessible. Like a flat back extension or glute ham raise is probably not in every gym, but an incline back extension is. So I opt for that because most commercial gyms have the incline at least. So I always try to make them accessible. And then if they need alternatives, I can obviously always give alternatives.
Yeah, for sure. All right, coming back to yourself, have you got a favorite out of the 4 lifts?
Favorite out of 4, dip.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is that because that's your best one, do you think? Or is it your best one?
No, it's not. No.
Okay.
I just
sorry, hang on. Sorry, there we go. Sorry, you carry on.
It's not my best one, but it's the one, I just enjoy. I really enjoy dips.
Just gonna pull up your lift down. So under 66 kilos. Now, talk me through your body weight, right? Because I'm currently sitting at about 95 kilo body weight, and I'm obviously not as lean as you are, right? But how tall are you how tall?
5'1".
5'1", cool. So have you found with street lifting, is there an optimal height for street lifting?
Is there an optimal? I don't know about height, but definitely maybe things can become harder if like limb lengths and stuff like that. So like when things like the dip, you've got further to get down to hit those shoulder and hip depths that you need to hit. The pulls, longer levers, further to. So I'd probably say more with that than height.
I do find it interesting because the older I've got them, I respect every sport now. The older when I was younger, I had a bit of bias and all that sort of shit or whatever. But I found that the older I've got, the more I just want to know every little minutia about the optimal physiology for a particular sport.
Yeah.
So I find it interesting with street lifting because it's so varied, and the obviously you got the weight categories, but the movements themselves. Holding mass is clearly going to be an advantage for some of it, but then a disadvantage for the other parts. So, which makes it even more interesting.
Yeah.
I was like I said, I do the weightlifting, and because para bench falls under weightlifting, I was at a competition in Dublin, like a world qualifier international event. And clearly at the para, you're going to have totally different sort of body types. But one thing I love and the variance at the para is that you do get that variance and body type within the weight categories.
Yeah.
And it's it's so cool to see how different body types have to morph and change, and the movement itself changes. And do not get me started on the movement standard at para bench. Have you ever coached a para bench at all? No. Fuck me. Like compared to regular power, like they are so like specific with the movement standards. My lifter came down, was it the pause at the chest?
Yeah.
Because there was a slight adjustment on the chest before she pressed. They gave it a no lift. And it's an interpretation of the actual movement itself. She's got scoliosis and kyphosis, so she has to adjust at the thing. But it was a subjective call by the ref, and they gave her a no lift, and I was gutted for her. But it's all these things and these minutiae with street lifting. Every little part of that movement is highlighted and recognized, and that's the beautiful thing with calisthenics. You can either do it or you can't. And with the back squat, you can either. Very binary. There's no interpretation there, which I love. So that physiology part is really interesting to me. At the events, do you find everyone? Is there the different body types, or does everyone sort of fit in within a?
Yeah, no. I see all sorts of different body types for sure. It's a conversation I've had actually before. Like what is the optimal sort of street lifter? Yeah. But regardless of each different body type, you just always seem to find that the athletes, adapt based on how they are to perform well.
Yeah, for sure. Your records, can we talk about them? Because a lot of people probably haven't done like a 1RM dip, but they probably do know what a dip feels like. They know what a pull-up feels like. They know what a muscle-up feels like.
Yeah.
So what are your current numbers? What are your PB numbers across the four? So you've got
so muscle-up is 20.
Right.
Chin-up is 75. Dip is 125.
Wow.
And Scott, what are we talking? This is in comp, right?
Yeah.
Comp? Yeah. So in street lifting, squat is 237.5.
Jesus. And that's at a body weight, your current body weight. Are you in the under 66 still?
Yeah.
So sub 66, you're back squatting 237.5 at comp.
At comp.
Yeah.
Yeah. With numb legs because my knee sleeves were way too tight and I couldn't.
Oh man. Oh, such a killer, isn't it? Such a killer. Well, your calves blowing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pat, sorry, that's kilos. So 2.205. Let me just work them out because, like I said earlier, Owen, we've got a lot of Americans in the house.
Okay. Yeah.
So 2.205. So we're looking at 525 pounds back squat. And back squat's the last event of the day.
It's the last one,
Yeah. So having then done the 20 kilo muscle up, 75 kilo chin up, 125 kilo dip, you've then performed that. Now with a regular power meet, you've got probably about hour and a half between events, break between the two equipment changes. How long is a typical event day? So let's say you're weighing in the morning. How long will you be done? What time will you be done by?
Let's say it's probably, we're looking at around 6 hours.
Right. Cool.
Yeah,
okay.
6 hours.
Yeah, you're probably about right then. So about an hour and a half turnaround between all four of the events.
Yeah,
right.
Obviously it depends on how big the comp is, but averagely I'd say 6.
Now, one thing I'm really interested in is nutrition because I know I talked about body type and it's very, very rare that you're going to find excess tissue, excess body mass on a calisthenics expert. You're probably not going to find it. Every extra kilo or pound of body weight negatively impacts you with gymnastics. On the flip side of that, it is fucking insane, isn't it? On the flip side of that, you need that mass for your power. You're going to need that. Now, as we all know, nutrition is a major factor in terms of strength sports. I think with the other sports, the excess weight doesn't necessarily get in the way. All it does is puts you negatively in terms of your scoring. It doesn't impact the movement itself.
That's it. That's right. Yeah.
Which is the beautiful thing about street lifting compared to the strength sports. Now, who does your nutrition? Do you follow a nutrition protocol for your sport?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who does that? Is that something you monitor yourself, or do you?
Yeah, myself. Yeah. I mean, there's people around me in the team that if I need to refer out for more expertise, then I can. But yeah, generally it's me doing it.
And is that something that you adapted and changed for street lifting specifically from just general strength?
Yeah, it's very similar. I just have to be a lot more careful with how much weight I put back on after weight, because like you said, I used to, so like with MMA, I'm trying to put back on all the weight plus more. I want that weight advantage. I need to be careful because the muscle up, the pull, it's going to make it harder. The dip and the squat, they're fine. Do you know what I mean? The extra mass would be fine with those, but I just need to be careful that I can replenish like whatever glycogen or whatever, hydrate, but not put on too much body weight back on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the main difference, I'd say.
Yeah, because it negatively impacts your performance.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I found really interesting about street lifting, and the inclusion of the calisthenics and the prioritization of it really will have a massive role on that. So I guess you don't really get too many high BMI, let's call it.
No.
People within the sport. Just looking at your lifts there. Interesting, you can keep your headphones in.
Yeah, I mean, not meant to, but
right, we'll ignore that then.
Yeah.
Good. We'll ignore that then. So in terms of, because what I know is going to happen here is that people are going to watch this and they're going to say like anything. How do I do that? How can I get involved in this? We had a few people after Tim was on saying, how do I get involved in the sport? Which is awesome, like getting involved in organizing, myself included. In terms of learning street lifting protocols, nutrition, which is a massive part of that. First of all, what's the type of people that you would recommend going to coaching? If they can't find a street lifting coach, who would be the optimal person to come to for street lifting? I
think.
Or do you think it's too niche to be able to outsource to anyone else?
Not necessarily, because so how I look at it is this, like this for any sport. I'm always like, look, strength is strength. It's just understanding what strength qualities the sport requires, and then training those strength qualities for each lift of the sport. So if you have a good understanding of that, and you have a good general understanding of how to periodize, then any sort of strength coach should be able to get someone stronger in street lifting. It's like the muscle up, for example. I treat that the same way an Olympic weightlifting coach would treat a snatch. It's a speed movement. That's how I'm treating it. So if
interesting.
Yeah, if the coach can obviously look at each lift and break them down like that, what strength qualities? Okay, so it's like speed strength, explosive strength, or whatever. Then that's where I feel, as long as you've got a good knowledge of how to just periodize generally for strength, then any, like a powerlifting coach, strongman coach, it's just knowing what strength qualities is required for each lift.
See, that's a really interesting thing you've just said, because personally, and I might be a complete open myself to ridicule here, I've never thought the way that we teach with muscle ups in our realm, I wouldn't teach it as a speed and explosive movement. I would get a firm base within you put, assuming people can't do pull-ups. But if people can do pull-ups, I wouldn't have initially treated it as a speed and explosive exercise. But you're right. It totally is, isn't it? It getting that movement there. So getting that explosive power, pulling up, pulling down through the bar to get yourself elevated. It totally makes perfect sense there.
The same way like an ollie lifting coach would break down the movement to like high pulls, stuff like that. Or you break it down into those different parts of the movement. I would do the same with the muscle up. So you could do chest to bar pull-ups. It's a speed pull-up, but it'll train a certain velocity, or pull to upper abs. So I'm looking at things as velocity in terms of how fast, because it's essentially the muscle up. If there's no speed, you're not getting up and over the bar. And if you grind it, you're going to get red lighted anyway. So it has to be a fast, explosive movement. But for sure, pull-ups is a good starting place.
That's obviously stepping stones towards it. And it's funny, obviously you've got Poliquin in your mind as well in the background, I guess. But those 3 explosive reps that we train, I might do, just singles, every 3 minutes, just do the most powerful single I can pull up or chest to bar. And the adaptions and the speed and explosivity that you gain from that, rather than grinding out 10s and 12s all the fucking time to get your highest sets, people don't necessarily understand the adaptions and the gain that we get from that. And I think that's been lost along the way. But people, your old school guys, they just knew this shit. Like, and a lot of the Soviet, I don't know if you've, a lot of the Soviet stuff. Yeah, and Bulgarian, and you got all this. I know Norwegian. You do a lot of Norwegian. Is one of you founders Norwegian? Is that right, or one of your members in the staff?
No.
Okay, you just use the Norwegian method.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. It's just slightly adapted, but same principles. And a lot of use a lot of conjugate. So from Louis Simmons, West Side.
Brilliant, perfect. I mean, what a man that man was, eh? Ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Cool, good. So, if people want to get in touch, do you have time and space for more online presence?
Yeah, I do. It's just basically it's like a waiting list is what I have.
Yep.
So for example, at the moment it's August, so it's kind of people just go to my Instagram, the little link, and there's like a waiting list contact form in there.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm at with taking on new people right now.
Amazing. There we go. Just put out your account there. So at the top here, you got your link here. Is that the right one? Cool. Follow that. Yeah. Cool. Lovely. And guys, I would go and check out Owen's page, because just take a scroll down and have a look at. You've got some really cool coaching and training tips and videos here. Like, there's a wealth of knowledge. One thing that I'm really, really keen on doing to use this platform is to just highlight, recommend, and promote as many people that I feel like fly under the radar and don't, because of the faff online and all the charlatans that go around, and they've done this, that, and the other, and they go viral and all that crap. There's so many people like yourself out there that have got this fucking insane wealth of knowledge and expertise and stuff that don't necessarily get a look in because they're too busy fucking doing the work rather than putting it out there. So as much as we can, I want to kind of get as many people your way as possible.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. And mate, be proud of everything that you've built up so far. And I'm sure this is the first step in there and your competition. What's next for you in terms of your competitive aspirations?
So I've got so I've not street lifting the rest of this year. So I just had my powerlifting debut like 3 weeks ago. And that's qualified me for the British Championships, which is in 3 weeks.
Amazing.
Entering that as an open and a master. It's double records is how I'm seeing it. Double records.
Yeah.
And then qualify a podium at that sends me to Worlds in November. And then I think there's another opportunity so I've got the current strongman deadlift world record at under 70. So there's potentially another opportunity December for that. And then next year back to street lifting.
Amazing. And do you is your training adapting around that to include do you bench for the dips at all or not?
Yeah. Okay. So I bench for dip, but I use more a biacromial, so quite more of a narrow grip.
Yeah.
Or similar to your dip grip width.
Yeah.
And then I use a lot of Larsen press.
Cool.
Basically Larsen press and decline. I found transfer more to the dip. One, because there's no leg drive. And the decline angle is just has a little bit more better transfer than like flat or incline.
Lovely. And the world champs that you've sort of qualified for, is that masters or is that seniors?
I'm going opens. Yeah.
Awesome.
So the objective is I'm looking to break in November. I want the all-time world record total ever in every federation in powerlifting. That's the objective. So it's currently 771, I think.
Right. Okay.
So the objective is to break that.
Amazing. Yeah, well, I've got a couple of athletes that have taken up powerlifting recently. I've got a 56-year-old called Janet. And she went to the Masters last weekend and broke all the British records.
Yeah.
We call her the Janimal, but she's 56. She hit 440 total. She only took up powerlifting like last year. She got 192 deadlift, and we spoke afterwards. She's like, I could have gone heavier, and I was like, yeah, but you hit enough to fucking qualify for the Euros next February. But also she's going this weekend coming, or the week today. She's competing at the British weightlifting masters, so in Birmingham. So there's this massive event there. I've got a couple of athletes doing the regulars and the para. But she's going for that, and she wants to be the dual champ across weightlifting and powerlifting at the same time. And there's a strong chance she's going to do it. So it's what I love about strength is that it transfers so much, and if you're willing to put in the effort, you can be a multidiscipline athlete. And someone like yourself, you've done it all, you know, and it's lovely now at the age of 40 that you're able to apply that and actually fucking break the records. So there's hope for us all, which is annoying because it means I've got to pull my finger out and actually do something. So yeah, cheers for that. Yeah. Nice and Owen. Well, I really appreciate your time. It's Sunday morning, so I know you got a lot to do and probably a lot of admin and stuff today, but try not to work too hard. But I'll follow your path over the next few months, and good luck with all the lifting and the powerlifting. I'll keep a strong eye on that. But yeah, no, really appreciate your time, mate. And I'll pick up with you a bit later on today, if that's all right. Nice one. Cheers, Owen. Really appreciate it. Bye. See ya. What a lad. Again, same age as me, which is really frustrating because every time I sit down, every time I eat one of my wife's brownies, that's not a euphemism. There's other people out there that are doing everything and breaking world records. I'm not too old to do anything, am I? Annoying. Judy, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Pat, Summer Vine. That's such a cool name. Pat here all along. Paddy boy. And Jon, obviously. What can we talk about? So I was in Dublin. And I just want to. Oh, hang on. I'm gonna have my sweetie. That's right. Actually, he doesn't have a podcast, does he? Hang on. I'm not going to be near the mic. Hang on. There we go. I fucking can't stand people eating on a mic or drinking. Pat, I am 40. Just turned 40. So in a lot of the strength sports, I'm M1. So the master starts at 40 with weightlifting. So Olympic lifting starts at 35 now. But I'd argue it needs to be because it's very explosive. Crushing Guinness and Dublin. No, I wasn't actually. I was there for a para bench competition with two of my peeps. Young Alfie, who's 16, and he benches 170. It was his first foray in. He got classified for para. So para is the Paralympics, the parallel version of it. So wait, I don't know if you know this. This could be a bit of a fun fact for you. British weightlifting, obviously our national governing body, let's say international weightlifting, historically used to look after powerlifting and weightlifting. So you had two and they were one in the same. Fairly recently, about 34 years ago, they split. They went two ways. So you became powerlifting and weightlifting. So they went no like this. So you got your national governing bodies for you. So the US, you've got US powerlifting, US weightlifting. One obviously is at the Olympics. So we got weightlifting at the Olympics. Now, because of that, with the Paralympics, there needed to be a parallel version of weightlifting to be hosted at the Paralympics. And because of that, the bench press at the para division stayed with weightlifting. So US weightlifting will look after and host and propagate and grassroots and promote and fund your para bench athletes. However, it technically is obviously a power lift. It's one of the bench press, but it does fall under weightlifting in terms of organization and national governing bodies. So because of that, we've got Alfie, who's just switched over from regular powerlifting. He's got a leg anomaly from birth. He had a congenital issue with his leg, so he still stands at 8 centimeter difference between his left and right leg. That's after 7 operations since the age of 5, and he's now 16. Every single person there has this insane backstory, this insanely inspiring story to listen to, and to. I was actually saying to a doctor there yesterday who was on site. She's a French lady. The parasport and disability sport, the behind the scenes, let's call it, the whole backstories, everything they do, the travel, the commitment, the medical problems, the adaptions, the overcoming of it, even getting through a fucking airport. I was with Claire, my other athlete, who's also 40. She's wheelchair bound. She had an accident 2 years ago. She was fully able-bodied. Now she's not. Getting through the Dublin airport that would have taken me half an hour took 4 hours to get onto the plane from arriving at the airport. 4 hours to get through. My eyes have been well and truly opened. But anyway, seeing and understanding that background and watching everything that they do in order to go and compete and be on the stage. The actual lifting is like, it's the small part of it. It's so fucking interesting to hear the background and everything that goes with these people and the commitment. And there's this one lady walking through the hotel lobby, had multiple sclerosis, MS, crutches, walking through. She's late 20s. And in every other walk of life, every other aspect of her life, she's looked at a certain way. And for that hour in that training hall and then on the competition floor, she was treated like a fucking superhero and a rock star. And that was bloody beautiful to see. The sport offers that for our people, and for people that don't have that platform in the rest of their life, then it's beautiful. You get short stature people, you get people with, in wheelchairs without the use of their limbs, lower limbs. You get people with neurological, issues, and yet they have a platform that doesn't get a fucking look in because people don't see it. It's not out there, and they don't understand what everything goes by, and which is so fucking important that we get media and we get people watching this shit. It's so damn important. And Jon and I had Rachel on, and I think there's an event going on. I think Jason's over there at the moment doing yes, can't agree. We were talking about this yesterday on the plane. Not just CrossFit, all the sports. As soon as you start to distinguish and go, one, you go over there, you go over there. As soon as you do that, you take away eyes from it. You don't necessarily increase the eyes because it's separate, and having to choose between one or the other will always have eyes going away. And I think as a community, it's one of the groups that we've sort of lost track of over the years. Let's be honest. Over the last couple of years, what media have we seen coming from our corner of the of the internet around the adaptive vision? The only one that springs to mind is the drama and the back and forward with the short stature guy. Is it Tim Murray? No, he's the fucking tennis player, I think. Yeah. Someone will remind me. And this is what I mean. My fucking ignorance. I can't even tell you who the fucking first place at the games in the short stature division. That's on me. I don't know their name. I need to I need to learn that shit. But again, you could ask me who won the games last year. Yeah, it was Tim Murray. Yeah. I'm not too much of an ignoramus. Tater top. Yeah. So we need a behind the scenes of the adaptive vision. There's only so many people moaning about that they had 6 hours sleep, or that they have to go all the way to America to compete, or they're a coach and their missus is cheating on them with someone. Fuck off. I don't care. Like, it's nothing. When you spend one day, I've spent one fucking day with a para lifter, And already I'm embarrassed that what I didn't know about. I didn't know. And and I'm embarrassed to say that. And it's fucking opened my eyes. And we need to do everything that we can. We're talking at the moment. It's all in the fucking zeitgeist, and we're all talking about what CrossFit needs to do and what CrossFit's going on, and World Fitness Project and them doing that, and it's all rubbish. We need to talk about becoming one thing again. We need to just be CrossFit. Everything else falls under that. I don't care about Metfix. I don't care about WFP. I don't care about all that stuff. It's great that they're on. I don't care about High Rocks. It's great that they're on. It's great that they're out there. But we need to refocus on what we've got. It's CrossFit. It all falls under that. And it should all fall under that. It shouldn't just be the same 5 people talking about the same 5 people. Let's have a look. Hello, me for time was a big adaptive guy last year, and a ton of athletes on his channel. Fucking awesome. But again, I didn't see that because I don't follow Meme for Time. Is that the guy that Grant knows? The bit of a clowny guy. So we did a bunch of interviews, various adaptive. They were always really good. Yeah. And that's the thing. There's so many people. There's so many people out there that are doing all of this. They are doing everything that the able-bodied athletes are doing, and infinitely more, even just to be able to compete. And their parents, and they've got to pay mortgage, and they've got a job, and then they've got to go through all this medical shit. It's just eye-opening, and they get no fucking media. So I'm holding myself accountable here. I really want to pursue that, because I really need to. And it's up to us as content, not creators, content people. What's the word I'm looking for? Observers, consumers, content consumers. It's up to us, except walking. So I can't remember what now. It's up to us to want and demand that kind of stuff, because let me tell you, as soon as you start to hear their stories, as soon as you start to understand, and as soon as you start that, I am the media. Yeah, exactly. And I held myself accountable here for better and worse. Yeah, I can. I'm in a position where I can do that, and I need to be able to do that. And this all falls under that banner of people demanding shit. Why don't you do this? Why isn't there out here? What? Fucking do it then. If you're calling for something, if you're demanding this, fucking get off your ass and do it yourself. But I can't be bothered with all the drama shit. There's a massive demand for that. All the views go in there. Seeing fucking someone filming someone else shagging someone else, or what? Great, brilliant. I'm 40. I don't care about all that kind of crap. Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, they can't. Not all of them can do that. But yeah, they're doing a lot of what we do then, and extras. But I think a bit of understanding behind what they do would then give you more of an understanding and the value of what they do at the games and their end result. You would learn and understand more and value what they do at the games. It might not look as impressive as someone doing 30 muscle ups unbroken, or Murph in 40 minutes at the games. It might not initially be as spectacular as that, but once you understand their backstory and everything that's led to what they're doing there, you then have this fucking remarkable sense of inspiration and admiration for what they're doing. And all of a sudden, someone doing a roll back around the box, and then to the other side of the box, all of a sudden, you understand how fucking hard it has been for them to do 50 of them for time, rather than 50 box over burpees. When you understand how hard it's been for them to get to the point where they can do that. And it is content, it is valuable, and it's out there. And there's so many people doing that. And I think we owe it to ourselves to want that. There's so much content out there that we're not absorbing and seeing because we're not really demanding it. So there's a lot of value there. And I think like Jons just said a minute ago, as soon as you start to bring that thing together again under that banner of CrossFit, I think then we will understand where this stuff needs to go, rather than separating it all out. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now. Good. I'm hoping to have Athena on soon. Drama free. We've got a lot to talk about with stuff that's moving forward and going ahead. That'll be fun. Jon and I'll be on later talking shit about stuff and life. A bit different from street lifting. By the way, ChatGPT is mental. Like my little buddy now. I want to change the voice though. It's mad how receptive it is. You just talk into it and it just talks right back exactly as a human would talk. And it's fucking scary, but it's so good. It's made me a lot more productive. I hope you tried ChatGPT too. Oh yeah, 2 shows with Athena. We've got big plans there. We've got big plans. But yeah, all in due course. So anyway, I'm super proud of the athletes that I was with yesterday. Alfie hit a British record. He's qualified for Worlds in Cairo in October, which if I can get enough funding, I'll be able to go with. Next weekend, I am... That's a great question, Judy. All will be revealed. Don't tell anyone, but we don't. But all will be revealed. A massive guest is coming on. But yeah, next weekend, I am at the British National Champs for weightlifting. So I'll be there from Friday to Sunday. So Sunday morning next week, I won't have a show. However, what I might try and do is a Saturday night show. Ooh, Saturday night here. So it'll probably be like late afternoon for you guys after Kill Taylor. If that's on, I think it might be coming back. Tyler might know. But yeah, well, I hope you guys had a lovely July the 4th. Whatever that is. I heard that's what you say to Americans. I don't know what it means. Yeah. And Jon found a dildo in a pound shop today earlier for 50p. So if anyone wants to know more about that, message Jon. Anyway, I will be off now. I'll let you know who I've got on later, but Sevi is on soon. Now, let me let you in on a little secret. Back end, I've seen there are so many shows scheduled in for the next sort of 10 days. There's so many decent shows coming up on the channel, so keep an eye on them. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but Dent's had a video put out earlier. He's got another one coming out tomorrow with a bit more detail on other things that have been happening. Yeah, just eating them fireworks. It looks fun though. Looks like a bit of fun. Something we all need from time to time. But yeah, super proud of the athletes I took. Super athletes, the athletes I'm taking next weekend. Anyone got any comps coming up? Anyone entered into any ways to test their hard work and fitness? Judy, have you done anything yet? Have you entered into anything? Are you planning on doing so? Who knows? Good. What have I got today? Oh, Jon, I've got to take that bed to the tip. The one that I pulled apart on Thursday before our show. Good. All right. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Sevi's on in what? 2.5 hours? Marathon. A half marathon. Awesome. That'll be fun. It's always worth having a doodah. I just wait for Jon and Swin to tell me how to test with it. Yes. Define fitness. There we go. There's a question for you. One we don't have any answers to. Anything else before we go? Oh, did you do it? What was that? What was your... It was a muscle-uppy one, wasn't it? Has anyone looked at the leaderboard for Beat Bayesian or whatever recently? Have a look. I'll look at that first. Because, and I'll tell you why. Because Hiller night. How do I sign up? Is it still available on? No. How do I find the link again? I'll Google it, shall I? Friendly Fan. It was Friendly Fan, wasn't it? Awesome. Good work, sir. You're fitter than you make out. Beat. Oh, it's competition corner, wasn't it? Coming in. Competition corner. Boop. Let's have a looky. Competition corner. Search by event. Beat Asian. Leaderboard. Have a look. Let me share it before I look at it, before I see it. Share screen. Who the hell's Kyle Johnson? Fucking hell. So, Augustus is still third. So he's sitting in there. Now, he wants to do it again. And he's currently like a couple of seconds behind Serge. How good would that be? So how many people have actually done it? So they were at 47 people have actually done the workout. Anyone we recognize? Adam Blakesley. Recognize him. Is he in the chat? Matt Lehman. Ooh, any relation? Large Marge. I like the name. I like the sound of her. Oh, fuck off. 71. That'll change every day until Steve Beckett. Oh, I know a Steve Beckett. Jeremy. Jeremy's underneath Erica. Zachary Gibbon. Is that Zachary? No, that's something. Andrew Hiller. Oh, a joint. Yeah, so Gus is doing pretty well still. Awesome. Lovely. Yeah, imagine that. We're just getting to repeat it every week until he wins it. Are we taking the deck on? Oh, Jan's off. Jan's off. My daughter's bringing me to Pilates, trying something. Cool. And yes, just to confirm, Jan did find a vibrator for 50 pence, which is about, what is that? 70 cents to you lot, I think. So yeah, vibrator for 70 cents. What could possibly go wrong? 50 pence. Yeah. Cool. Well, there we go. We talked about a lot. You know, one of the hardest things about doing all this stuff is you want to fill every second with talk. That's one thing Sebi's really fucking good at. It's just not giving a shit about dead air. Just being quiet. Doing admin. Yeah. Cool. Right. I've got so much. I was just so busy. Got so much to do. I don't think we need to. There's one. Oh, just sit here. Oh, one thing I do have on here is these. I don't know if they work though. Did you hear that? Did you hear that or not? What's the difference between pence and a quid? So a quid is a pound. So I haven't got any on me. A pound is our equivalent to $1, let's say. So it's 100 pennies. 100 pennies is a pound. Now a penny is a pence. 1 pence is 1 penny. Multiple pennies make pences. Oh, you did. You heard it. Amazing. Hang on. Let's do it again. tell you why, because it's on this. No. Oh. Yeah, there you go. Why this one? Can you hear that at all? I put on when I first got this thing, I put a load of like sound bites into these buttons, and I never ever use it. I don't think it works. But hang on. Is that got my American buttons? I don't know if you can hear them. Rubles, Afghanis. Yeah, we had this big change. We decimalized in, I think it was 1978, just after the punk era of 76. We went from shillings and farthings and all that kind of shit. 100 pence, 100 pennies make a pound. That's all you got to know. Just like you get 100 cents to the dollar, we have 100 pennies to the pound. And then you've got other countries all jumped on, and they're the equivalent. Yeah, exactly. A dollar and a buck is a pound and a quid. Yeah, exactly. I heard that the buck thing is because it used to be able to afford you a buck skin. So when they traded, you could trade, and it was like a skin of a buck, as in a deer. But yeah, there you go. That's what I heard. Might be wrong. I'll tell you a good film. What's that film? Oh, correct. The one with Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy, when they're in the American, what's it called? And they end up killing each other at the end in the snow when he gets attacked by a bear and all that shit. That was a good film. Tom Hardy's awesome, isn't he? Revenant, fucking great film. Tell you, like a series that is this. There was a period of time, Titanic, that went down a storm. There was a period of time, like you got The Revenant, you've got Taboo, which is an awesome series that Tom Hardy had to fund himself because the BBC didn't want to fund it. But series 2 is being written and filmed at the moment. Interstellar. There's so many decent films that need rewatching. What was that series with McConaughey and Woody Harrelson in it? They did multiple series, but it wasn't as good as the. All right, here we go. Right. If I could have one person play me in a film, it would be Hardy. Also, the only man my wife openly fiends. Yeah, like he's just got a bit of everything, hasn't he? And I can't tell about his accent because he's clearly English, but it flits between different English accents. It's very strange, very strange. What's it be? Peaky Blinders, they're from Birmingham. The thing is, Pat, that was it, True Detective. The thing is with, oh yeah, that is fucking amazing. That's a great shout, Yom. Hang on. Just going to pull something up, please. If you like Tom Hardy or you don't know Tom Hardy, hang on, let me. Oh, shut your face, yeah, dick. Here we go. Check for that Tom. Hang on. Boop. Right, here we go.
Bedtime stories on BBC iPlayer.
Yeah.
Just search CBeebies Bedtime Stories.
Hello, I'm Tom, and I'm sat here outside with my dog Blue. Now, can you see all the flowers and the trees? Big or small, colourful or plain, all of them just grew from a tiny little seed. Now, these little plants are only a few years old. But did you know that really big trees are older than you? They're probably older than me too. But this story is about a very old tree and all the wonderful things that have happened to it over 1,000 years. It's called The Oak Tree, and it's written by Julia Donaldson and illustrated by Victoria Sandoy. Way
I'm
back
going
in
to get a
time,
strike, am I?
1,000 years ago, an acorn on the ground began to grow. Into the earth there sank a wiggly root, and upwards crept a short and slender shoot. Below, a family of badgers slept, while up above 2 children hopped and leapt. "Oh, children, watch your feet. Tread carefully. Mind where you land. Don't squash this baby tree." The oak survives. Some 20 years have flown, and like the tree, the boy and girl have grown. Their children gather sticks to play new games, and in the oak tree's bark, they carve their names. A woodpecker has also made his mark, drilling for tasty grubs beneath the bark. Another 20 years go by.
Anyway, oh, Jonathan, I've just sent you a link. I'd love to see your face. So would everyone else, I think. Yeah. So he seems like a insanely creative but troubled man. And I don't know if it's trouble or if it's just the fact that he's not screwed up. And it, you know, okay, you can come on. Come on. But he just seems cool. He just seems really chilled and relaxed and does what he wants, which is lovely. What was that film? Is it The Warrior? What film was it where he was MMA fighter, the weird brother that sort of went off? That's a great word. Is that cherubic, as in cherub, but cherubic? Cherubic or cherubic? What would you go with? Cherubic. Either way, good word. I wanted to go to Rome, but now we've got a third baby on the way. So probably not gonna happen, baby. Yeah. Tom Hardy was in that Star Trek film. Do you remember he played that clone of Picard that the Borg had made, I think? It's like one of his earlier films that people forget about. But then Bronson's an amazing film. Great film. Classic Hardy. Is Yon going to come on? Who knows? We shall see. What we got planned for the day then? Aside from, being on here. Star Trek Nemesis. Yes, that was it. So I saw a really cool reel earlier that I've sent. So there's flooding in Texas somewhere. That looks shit. Not ideal, is it? The news with Jake Chapman. Tell you what we'll do. I've got an idea. BBC News. Why don't we watch the news together? Why don't we look at... I'll tell you what we can do. Here we go. You lot in the US. You probably don't ever see any other countries' news styles. Or want to, I guess. Let's have a look here, shall we? So, the BBC. Now, our headline news is welfare U-turn. Don't care. Texas kills 51. Wow. Oh, man, that's shit, isn't it? Trump is using the madman theory to try to change the world. Bollocks. Don't care. Ozzy Osbourne goes out. Did you see that? He did a gig in his hometown of a city of Birmingham. Had a lot of big names there, and it was his final thing. Sat down the whole time looking a mess. Euro 2025. Don't care. It's just rubbish, isn't it? More stories. Now, should we have a look at what the most read article is on the BBC, which is the British Broadcasting Company? Why I kick down the Peak District stone stacks. Like that is the most read article on this website, which is the premier like news channel for the UK. That is the headline story. Brilliant. I'll tell you what I can do though. I'll tell you what I can show you, which is from the island. Let me show you something. You're going to love this. World. Right, hang on. Where's Yanni? Here he is. Whoop. All right.
What's that?
Nice hat. Does it say Viagra?
No, that's what I'm sponsored by. Vega.
Vag.
Vega.
Vega. Oh, Vega was
Street Fighter. Street Fighter.
Yeah, it was that androgynous, like, is it a male, is it a female, they, them.
It was the first tranny.
Yeah.
In a game.
Yeah, they're ahead of their time, man.
It was Fallon Fox of the Sega.
Fallon
That
Fox
was an interesting guy you had on this morning.
Oh, mate, like, yeah, like his background, fucking taekwondo, MMA, calisthenics, and then street lifting, and then powerlifting, and he's 40.
Yeah, I was listening from the trampoline park.
How'd that go? Bouncy?
Yeah, good. Very good.
Awesome. Oh, here you go. One thing. I don't know if you can see it. StreamYard now. This is going to be amazing. And I can't wait for Sevi to find this. On the right-hand side, there's a new thing called People. And I can control everyone's audio, video, my guests on here.
Oh,
so when you log in, when you log into ours, you'll be able to see that. It's amazing.
I see Taylor's on the. Oh, is he scheduled July 3rd?
Yeah, Glinton.
Has he been already?
No.
Why is that?
No, he hasn't been on already.
July 7th, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. It's my daughter's birthday tomorrow.
It was created on.
Yeah, what are you doing today?
I'm about to go to the gym, and
Nice.
then I'm gonna sit and program for my clients. I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing, because I was going to do that yesterday, but Haley had a sickness bug, so I spent the whole day yesterday with Adam. She's up and about now.
Cool.
How many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I've got 23 clients to program.
Is that on Train Heroic?
Yeah.
That thing on the right with the red triangle saying, they need programming tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right,
I hate it. Yeah, 23 people to organize today.
Is that mainly to publish it? So you've done a framework and you tweak and publish?
Nah, a lot of them I do week to week.
Okay.
But a lot of them don't take me long.
No.
General fitness ones don't take long because I will have a kind of plan, and they kind of, obviously their programming isn't changing week to week.
No. Yeah.
But I look back on what they did. I look at their check-ins and see if they've got anything that I need to adjust.
Chickens.
You know? So, and then I've got a few people competing coming up, so they're going into like tapers and peaks and whatnot. So I will look at that a bit more closely. It'll be a big caffeine, mate. Every day's a big caffeine day. Every day.
So this is what Jon's talking about. So we both use this platform for programming. I find it really intuitive. It's really easy to use, and I've used it for a while. So So this is a program that I've got for Hell's Bells, H-Bomb, as I call her. Again, she's competing. She's doing her first powerlifting competition at the age of 67 later in the year. It's awesome. So she's getting. Hopefully, we can get her to British Masters next year. But no, so that's the kind of setup that we're talking about. Just if people wanted to know. Yeah, my client Tom, he's in software engineering. He fairly stressful job, very different from mine. He is having to go through withdrawal from caffeine, and I asked him how much he has a day, and he doesn't drink he doesn't drink energy drinks. He just drinks coffee, like black coffee, and he doesn't drink long coffees. He drinks espresso shots.
Yeah, good man.
And he was having 12 espressos a day, and some of them were double, and he was having them between 6 a.m. and 2 p.m. And he said it was just completely like your threshold goes up, and he'd gone from like 2 a day up to 12 over 6 months.
So that is times 12. That's like 756 milligrams of caffeine a day.
It doesn't sound too. Yeah, when you put it like that, it's like 3 cans of fucking Monster or C4, isn't it? Maybe 4.
A tin of Monster is about 160 milligrams of caffeine.
Right. Okay. So like 5 cans of that a day.
I probably have. I'm outing myself now, so none of my clients will watch this one, but I always give them a out for how much caffeine they consume. I probably have 3 Monster Ultras a day, and I probably have about 4 or 5 shots of espresso as well.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
I never drink pre-work. I'd never buy pre-workout supplements.
No.
I could have a tin of Monster while lying in my bed and then fall asleep.
Yeah, caffeine has that
thing though.
Yeah, exactly. It focuses, it numbs the voices and the static, doesn't it?
What is this one actually? I think these might be like 180 milligrams, and then things like Rain and like I buy a lot now is the what are they called? Fuck. It's not C4, it's something else. It's an American one.
Bang. Do you remember Bang?
Do you know what? I never liked any Bang energy.
I went through a phase because when I had my gym, I would we had what was the supplier? Muscle Food. No,
Muscle Farm.
It was something like that. We had a wholesaler that we went to, and you open up the website and they'd have deals on. And 1 month they had a deal on Bang. Hey, you have got right. Okay, yeah, go. They had Bang, and I looked it up, and the first thing I saw was their fucking CEO. Do you remember the CEO of Bang?
Yeah, I can remember.
Like, I need to look him up again. I don't know if he's still alive.
Pull them
he
up.
Would be someone. He's gone. Fuck. Bang Energy. Are they still a thing? Bang Energy.
Yeah, we've got them in the gym vending machine.
Okay. So it looks like they've got rid of because he was like front and center in all of their advertising. He was such a numpty, but like bought a lot of energy, I guess. Bang Energy CEO. No, he's gone.
Can you pull up this one? This is the one I like to buy.
Which one?
The Cherry Limeade Ghost.
Okay.
What's the caffeine in these?
Yeah, Jack Wackarak. Yeah. Oh man, he was nuts. Yeah,
160 milligrams. That's not too bad.
No, I think there must be some regulation that we have about caffeine intake.
I'm sure Tyler just said some of them have got 200 over there. 300.
Yeah. But so they're 470. So anywhere from 473 to 500 mil, aren't they? Our cans. The tins that you guys get are fucking. You can get like a giant tin like that.
We get them here now as well. We get bigger tins of Monster. They're like probably like up to about here, and then they've got like a swivel top, so you can open and close it.
I've seen them. Yeah, I've seen that. I couldn't get my head around how to drink it. The hole was too small. To get them out.
Christ, I would love a 200 milligram tin. I drink 3 a day.
But the Bang the Bang energy drinks, so they were imported from the US, and I'm sure they had creatine in them, some of them, but there was a pina colada flavor. Oh my god, it was so good. It's like
they've got them. That's what the Bang energy ones were, very like sweet, so like cotton candy, pina colada, all that. Yeah. Rain are actually very good, by the way.
Right, yeah, they're thin. They're like less syrupy, I guess.
They've got over here. They're 200 milligram caffeine in a tin. I did some work with the PFCA, and because I was part of their like mentorship, you know, like Ollie Marchon and all that, and Craig Massey, like all that lot. It's like their company. They had like this sponsorship with Rain, and I was only part of the mentorship for maybe 3 months. But for about 2 years, they sent me a crate of Rain every month because it was like part of like they had this like deal with everyone that was part of the mentorship. But they obviously didn't realize that I had left.
Yeah,
and I was just getting a crate. It was like 50 tins every month. And then when they obviously realized, I was glad that they funded my caffeine addiction for about 2 years over lockdown and whatnot.
Who loves what was that thing? If she doesn't know who loves orange soda, she's too young for you,
bro. Yeah.
I love that. So what I'm gonna pull up is, so at the moment this weekend, completely fucking randomly, we have got the world downhill skateboarding champs.
Now this is what I asked in the chat the other day. I said, "Is that a Red Bull event?" And Sevi thought I was a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I saw that. And then didn't get a chance to fucking talk about it. Yeah, so these fucking mentalists. Is there any more to the story? No. It's about 1.5 mile course. Now I'm going to try and find that there's footage, like drone footage.
Tyler, we had Nickelodeon. I bought this fucking massive torch off TikTok. Right? I'm like turning into like the most stereotypical 88s person, but this torch is the fucking best.
Hold up. Let me look at it. A maglite. Is it a huge fucking maglite one? I've got a story about that.
Yeah.
I've got a well good story about them.
It's something like...
Do I tell it?
It's like 1 million lumens.
Right. 1 million lumens. Jeez.
I think that's what it is. It's meant to be like the brightest torch in the world. I seen it and I was like, oh, I'm buying that.
Right. Okay. Good.
I don't know if I'll ever like need to use it.
Coolio. Coolio did that, didn't he? I'm trying to think of how.
He was even in the video. There we go. Look, 1 million lumens is an incredibly intense amount of light. It's the equivalent to the output of over 1,300 high-powered household LED bulbs.
Just necessary then. Necessary. When would you need that?
I don't know. I just seen it on TikTok Shop and bought it. And like Haley
to blot out the sun.
Like why I need all these like things that I buy. And the thing is I don't need it, but I just buy them.
Wanted it. Yeah. That's what Alibaba's for. AliExpress is like my fucking, when I'm bored on the sofa, I'll just go there and just find something for £3 and order it for free delivery from China. Forget I've done it. A week later, something comes out, open it, and it's like some random fucking weird.
I forgot I bought that. I think I ordered that about 3 months ago.
But this was one of them. I was like, oh, that'll be good. And then ordered it, and then arrived. It was like £2 from China delivered.
I liked, my favorite show from that era was Hang Time.
Hang Time. There was a few others, wasn't there?
Hang Time, Sister.
Sister. Roger. Go home, Roger. That was Marcus Houston, wasn't it?
Judy, we don't even watch CJ's show.
Did you all hear CJ of Robert giving the props on his show? No, we didn't.
We just abuse him on WhatsApp.
Yeah, he's
What's
he's
the timestamp? We'll pull it up.
friend of the show. Yeah, let me what?
They've got a really big platform.
Yeah, ginormous. Was it on the was it, how long ago was that? No. Anyway,
Was he saying lots of horrible things about me?
Probably. When's the worst time to get a hair in your mouth?
Well, it's definitely when you're eating.
Okay.
Eating what? It's another
420
discussion altogether.
and 69. Which show? 420, was it the most recent one? Live.
I really want to try this exercise that Dave Lippensteel posted. And I'm going to try it today. I'm going to share my screen so you can see it.
Okay. Oh, the Friday the 4th. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, the kettlebell. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I've never done that before, and I want to try it today.
Yeah.
Because I love side lateral raises.
Hang on.
I do calf twins like at the start of every session. Doesn't matter what I'm training. I want to have big fucking cap delts like Dave Lippensteel.
Hang on.
Oh, Judy, that means we have to watch the whole show so we can clip it.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Oh, it is 420 and 69. All right, hang on. I'll do the. Yeah, I've got it. Right, okay. 420 and then 69. Right.
I also want to buy a bamboo bar.
Yeah, we've got 2 at the gym that no one ever uses.
Do you?
Yeah. Right, I'll take that down for a sec. And I will.
Is Tyler still here?
Don't know. He's probably watching some video of I don't know, people dying or something.
What's the peanut gallery think? I feel like the conversation would flow a little bit better. I mean, I think it goes okay now, but I don't know. I'm feeling kind of stale. But I mean, it is that time of year.
Nope. Wrong show probably.
He's got little golf clubs.
He's got tiny little golf clubs. 69 would be.
I have asked him about those golf clubs before. He did tell me the story.
Yeah, I remember.
Craig Ritchie looks like every he looks like every CrossFitter like wants to look like Craig Ritchie.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when people think like, oh, I do CrossFit, I want to look like, and it's like Craig Ritchie is like the physique that everyone probably wishes they had.
Oh yeah, for sure. You think about what he specializes in, weightlifting.
Yeah. And he bodybuild before he even started CrossFit. He done bodybuilding for years.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Right. So you get instances of like people like Craig Ritchie. You get instances of when they haven't necessarily aligned with like what other people have been talking about, and then because of that, there's this whole thing that snowballs, and they go completely their separate ways in terms of media space. And it's a real shame because like he's got a lot to add and a lot to contribute. Hang on.
He is a clever chap.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of experience. So what I'm about to pull up, my boy got stung by wasp last week, a week ago. He hit his face on a table yesterday when I was in Dublin in the morning, and nothing happened. It swelled up a little bit, right? And then this morning he gets out of bed and he's like, "Daddy, I can't really see anything." I was like, "All right, fucking knobhead. All of this has come up again. He's done it again. So we rang up. We rang up.
Like so fucking miserable. Enough.
I know, he was so, because he got rid of it. It took a few days for it to go down, and then it's like he smacks his eye on a table. But the thing is, it came up a little bit and then went, and then he wakes up this morning. His obviously body's gone into like a sleep, and it's aggravated the fucking inflammatory effect or something in the recovery. It was like closed up. But we've put antihistamines in him and a bit of ice, and it's gone down now. But fucking hell, that boy, he cannot stay out of trouble. Like physically, he's always fucking doing some bullshit. Never mind, eh? Right.
Boys, though, isn't it?
Yeah, they're just knobheads. Clicking knee. Right. Okay. Do you want to do something later?
Yeah, what time?
Hang on. Let's go.
Should we go 8 p.m.?
Yeah, let's go 8 p.m. GMT. What's American Carol call you CBS? Oh, we did jiu-jitsu as well Friday night, and he got knocked. He got poked in the eye, the same eye. Anyway, yeah, let's go 8 p.m. I'll schedule it and all that shit. But we can talk about just bullshit.
Do you want to hear my session for today?
Yeah, let's go.
I've got an AMRAP 60 to go and do.
Why?
It's 800-meter run, 20 hand release press up, 500-meter ski, 10 power cleans, and 10 burpee box jump over. Power cleans are at 60 kilos.
Okay. What are you expecting out of that? Like, what was it? 800-meter run. So we look. Is this treadmill?
800-meter run treadmill. Yeah, it needs to be on a treadmill just because.
So is that like 4? Do you do like 3.5-4 minutes?
I'll probably stick that on like a 440 kilometer pace.
Okay. So
go faster than anywhere between 440 and 5-minute kilometer pace. So it's not, especially if it's 60-minute AMRAP.
So like a 4:10, 4:15 time frame for that run, and then off there, and then what was it? Ski
20 push-ups.
Oh, 20 minutes.
They'll just be done. They're just an inconvenience, and then 500 ski will be anywhere between like maybe like a 150, 2 minutes, probably 2 minutes.
So it's 7-ish.
60. 10 rep power clean. They'll be touch and go for the most part until like probably 20 minutes in, and then I'll probably have to just do singles. And I probably do singles to begin with, to be fair.
Yeah. And then what after that?
10 burpee box jump overs, 24-inch.
So you're probably looking at about a 8.5, 9-minute round.
I'd say about 8.5, 9.
Yeah. So you're probably looking at about 6 rounds ish. Cool.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah.
That's not even the full thing. Because I still have applied strength. So for time, 15 reps, D-ball over shoulder, 200-meter bear hug carry with a D-ball, and then another 15 reps, D-ball over shoulder. It's meant to be a 50-kilo ball, but I've only got a 45 in the garage. So I'll put that in the back of the car and take it to the gym with me.
Okay. Cool.
And then for extra credit, they've got a 400-meter walk and lunge, which I'm not doing.
Yeah, they can fuck right off.
The 60-minute piece is enough for the day, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I like using the D-ball. I love doing that. And because I've got DECA coming up, it uses the D-ball for part of it. So
is there room for you? Like I know the value of power cleans, and you don't need to sell me on that. But is there room to like merge them? So rather than the power cleans, get the D-ball and do that part.
I think that's why they have that and the applied strength, because the barbell is the first portion, and then they'll use that and like applied strength and like another piece that kind of crosses over into like the obstacle course racing and like things like DECA and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
that makes sense. Cool.
Mondays and Thursdays, I just do the monostructural piece.
Yeah, I ran the other day for the first time in a few months. Wasn't long. But
Did you wear your normal shoes?
No, I wore my Adidas.
Adidas weightlifting shoes.
Yeah. No, the training thingy does.
Judy, they've got them all over the world.
Iran. Yeah, well, those. I'll tell you what, I'm loving these specials. They are fucking very, very good for all round.
What's the toe box like?
Quite wide. Yeah, quite wide. Very, very similar to the Nano 2s in that respect. It's nice and they're breathable. They're a lot. I don't want to say this out loud, but they're better made than the Nano 2.
I'm going to tell PK you said that.
I know, but doesn't, I've still got 1,000 pairs of 2s. So, but yeah, these are my notes for the shows, by the way. I do like.
Oh, you do like a little mind map.
I do a mind map, a flowchart of where I want to go with it. What was I going to say?
Do you know what I do? I write down all my notes into my iPhone notes, and then I copy and paste it into ChatGPT and ask it to basically like summarize it for me. And then it'll ask me like, would you like this in a PDF? Would you like me to whatever? And I just then I kind of tweak it like that way.
Nice. Good tool to use. I was going to say.
Show Judy this. So if you wanted to find a race, Judy.
Oh, she said there's one coming up in Ohio. I didn't know if it's the same thing.
So if I pull up actually this page here. Sorry, I closed that page. If you pull up this one here, find a race.
Funkypigeon.com.
You can literally go on the map. You can do whatever races. So there's all the ones you can do, like sprint 5K with 20 obstacles, because it's not just Deca, it's like Spartan, but you can do any of these, Deca Fit, Deca Ultras, all. So let's just apply all destinations. You put in whatever, like let's just put Scotland. Don't know if that, yeah, there we go. And we'll just see what everyone's in. And there's all the ones that come up in Scotland.
Look at the Isle of Man with its own little bubble.
I wonder if you've got any on Isle of Man.
No, there won't be.
Have you ever had any in Isle of Man? No.
I don't think so.
This is the next one. What fuck? This is the next one I'm doing here.
Funkypigeon.com.
Deca Strong. There's 0 running, which is fantastic.
Ooh.
Average duration, 20 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay.
I'm above
so there's
average.
different shit. That's good.
The last time it took me 17:09.
Nice. Just a quick one on that workout I did. So it was half Jerry. So there's a hero called Jerry. And we did half of it to fit it in. So it was basically build up to 95% of your one arm back squat first. So it's like triple, double, single. So leading up 70, 80, 90, 95%. There's only 4 sets. So I hit 195 for a single squat. And then it was half Jerry. And half Jerry was 800-meter run, 1K row or ski, 800-meter run for time.
I think I would do the ski.
Yeah, I skied, but only because we're at the end of a machine cycle. So I've been skiing on this cycle.
You've been doing the skiing.
Arms though, like coming off the ski, obviously triceps. So I'm the first sort of 100 meters. I'm up here holding on, and I'm using elbows to release.
Oh, but they weighted. Yeah, weight vest.
No. Just my t-shirt I had on was strong enough to be able to do it. But yeah, the first run was 3:25. The ski was 3:30, and then the second run, I can't remember what it was, but it was 10:40. It took me
That's a mile.
to do that a mile plus the 1K ski.
Yeah,
sandwiched in the middle. But it's the first running I've done for a fucking long time. It didn't feel too shit, but I know it's only a little bit of running, but it was enough to remind me that kilometers, 800 meters.
A mile would be 1.6 kilometers.
Yeah. So it was half a mile. So because did I say it was Jerry? Yeah, Jerry.
Yeah.
It's a mile run, and then a 2K row, and then a mile run for time. But we did half the volume, so 800, 1K, 800. But yeah, so that's what that was. But it was quite a nice, short, stabby, and it was funny seeing people's pacing. The first run, they fucking went off hammer and tong, and they came back, sat on the row or the ski, and they proceeded to die. And then
the rock zone. Yeah.
Rock zone.
I really, it's not fun at all because you fucking have to redline it. It's a 30-minute time cap. It's 2K ski, 2K row, and then in the remaining time, how much distance you can run.
Yeah. 2K. Oh, that's
so 2K,
nasty.
2K, and then just whatever's left of that 30-minute time cap, you're running.
So even if you hit a 2-minute split on there, you're looking at, with a transition, you're looking at 16 and a half minutes. So then you've got 13 and a half minutes of running, which is annoyingly close to like a 3K, I'd imagine, of running.
The furthest that I've ever done, because I've done it maybe 3 or 4 times now, the furthest I've ever gotten is about 1900 meters. I've not hit 2. My goal is to hit like 2K, 2K, 2K.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've not much hit it yet because you're surprisingly like, even if you kind of pace the ski in the row, you're fucked coming off because you have to ski. If I could choose, I would row, ski, then run, but it's ski, row, run.
Yeah. I can see how that would get a little bit fatiguing.
It's brutal. Like, whereas I've got clients that have hit like 2.5 kilometers on it.
Mad. Yeah. So yeah, it depends. Yeah. I guess if you're looking at, let's say, 13 minutes on the run. Yeah, that's pretty good going, isn't it?
I've got a few clients now that are like hitting like sub 20 min 5Ks.
Nice. We used to have GNC, so there's a bit of history there. So GNC, so GNC were like the big supplement place, obviously over here. We had loads of them, and then this was when we were part of the EU. EU regulations came in and they made massive sweeping changes to what was allowed and what wasn't allowed in nutrition supplementation. And a lot of the stuff that GNC was stocking wasn't going to be able to be sold in volume or as part of that. So ultimately they had to make a decision to sell the name to, we have a brand called Holland and Barrett. I don't know if that's just in the UK. But Fergalicious. Here we go. Talking of strong men. But yeah, Holland and Barrett still do that. But they're the brand that sells like big bags of like freeze-dried banana chips and fucking 2 kilos of peanuts and raisins and health bars and all this shit.
Like it's mostly vegan stuff and then supplements.
It smells of vegan. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, so GNC aren't around anymore because of that. However, they shut down in 2015. We left the EU in 2016. So like it could have, given it a couple more years, it could have survived, I think. But to be honest, I think the online market has decimated a lot of the like supplementation and shops like that now.
So much so, and the supplement industry is fucking huge now. So everyone and their like uncle have got like, especially in the bodybuilding world. You know, I used to order stuff off like bodybuilding.com.
Yeah,
you know, and like have to wait 3 weeks for it to come over from like America, and then but now everyone's got supplement shops over here. Very first supplement shop I went into, I was like, what, 350 odd pounds, and the guy was, I was like looking for like what you like diet whey, because it had like green tea extract in it and stuff, thinking like, oh, that's the whey protein I would need to have because I'm dieting. And the guy was like, oh, what's it you're looking for? I told him like my goals and whatnot, and he was like, oh, don't take any of that off the shelf, I've got this supplement, and I think I've told you this before. And he was like, I'll go and get you, it's called Diamond Labs ECA plus 30. It's a stimulant, it's a fat burner, just take this ECA. So I bought it like every month. It was like 30 tabs. I was going in and buying it like every month for about 18 months without like having no clue what it was. And I'd be like anxious all the time and everything. It's because it was like ephedrine, which is basically like ephedrine, caffeine, and aspirin. Yeah. In the blood.
Thin the blood with the aspirin, and then give you loads of caffeine.
Basically caffeine and then like a methamphetamine. And then people be like, "Oh, what are your calories?" I'd be like, "Oh, I'm eating like 500 calories a day." I lost like 3 stone in about 2 months. Like 45 pounds for anyone that doesn't know what a stone is in about 3 months.
Yeah.
Because I was basically like a meth head for like 18 months.
You learned from it, I guess.
I know. I wish I could get that now.
Of course you do, Judy. You're a female. You're supposed to. You're a gatherer, aren't you? I'm only joking, by the way.
I went into a shop today. I probably shouldn't I'll not name the shop because it's a corner shop, right?
Okay.
And I heard that they were selling. It's funny enough, they were selling a new monster. It's called. Oh shit! I can't
It's
remember.
not the Norris, not the Lando Norris.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Someone texted me and said, "Oh, they've got the Lando Norris monsters in this shop." So I was like, "Fuck, I'm going to get one." Right. So went in to buy one, and I was kind of looking around because it's got all the American candy and like American like sweets and stuff, and the AW root beer and whatnot. So I was like, I bought a few tins of the. I was getting a few tins of the sugar-free AW root beer. Fucking love it. I got the Lando Norris, a couple of tins of that monster, and then I was like up at the till, and he's like, "Anything else today?" And all these shops have got like vapes and whatnot, you know. And he's like, "Anything else today, sir?" And I'm like, "No, just the juice." And he's like, "Do you smoke?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't smoke." And he's like, "Do you vape?" I was like, No, I don't vape." He's like, "Do you want anything else?" And I was like, No, I'm good." He's like, "Oh, okay, just asking." He's like, I've got I've got cheap stuff here if you want it." And I was like, "No, I'm good." Basically, just a front for selling drugs.
We had a Chinese couple owned a remote control car shop in my old town, and it was there for like 30 years. Like remote, you know, like the big remote control cars, like giant truck things.
Yeah.
No one ever went in there to buy remote. It was a front for like drugs, and it was like everyone knew it. Like
this is, I'm gonna show you. I did a story on this not that long ago, right? But this shop in the UK is definitely a fucking front for money laundering. Because when have you ever seen anyone go into Shoe Zone?
Shoe Zone.
They are on every high street in the UK. So I have never seen anybody in a single shop.
What a load of shit! I went in this. I can smell that shop. It's like cheap leather.
Look, they are literally in every high street in the UK, and I've never once seen a single customer in that shop.
No. A load of rubbish.
Money laundering.
I'll tell you who goes in there is poor people buying school shoes for their son that wore them out last week. That's the only market they have.
Lonsdale ones as well.
Oh, Lonsdale, yeah.
That's the official uniform of a Polish man.
Yeah.
Photo?
Do they throw shows? Do you mean shoes? Do they throw shoes over power line? We don't, because we don't want to die. No. Yeah, Shoe Zone. He knows. We got a fellow Brit in the house.
Shoe Zone is a fucking money laundering scheme.
It's not really a thing here, Rambler. I know what it is. It's where someone died, isn't it? And like it started off as a fucking gang thing, but every now and again you'll see it, and you just think, why are you trying to emulate something from the US? It's like, it's not really a thing. But I do know what you mean, and I get the reference, but it's not really. I
see random shoes at the side of the road.
Yeah.
Do you ever see like a lone,
that's the other thing.
Trainer? You're like, who? Like, what? Where's the other trainer?
Yeah.
Or where's?
We don't really have power. We don't have power lines. We have like telephone, but they're coming down as well because of fiber optic and like under the. We don't. That's a good point, actually. We don't really have many above ground wiring shit anymore, do we?
I can't remember the last time. It's weird, but you look up. We don't like. There's not power lines going across like housing estates and whatnot. No, telephone booths aren't really a thing either. They are around, but not really.
They're not. They're like libraries now. So you'll have like a red phone box, and especially in London, and it'll be filled with like prostitute
porno cards,
pictures, and then like a few have been used. Hey,
there's one here locally, a phone booth that basically people use it as like a book swap.
Yeah, that's the little library
Like,
thing. Yeah.
someone's put like a shelving unit in it, and basically, if you want to go in, you can take a book out of it and like put one back.
Mm.
You know, and I'm surprised that the youth haven't fucked it up. To be fair, because everything in this town gets messed up by teenagers.
Do you believe there's any truth to conjugate method of nutrition? I mean, the sum total of all the supplements over the years do more benefit than cherry picking the current code? Yeah. I think so. I think so.
There's tons of just bullshit supplement fads out now.
Yeah, every 5 years they come. I was talking to Owen about this earlier about training methods. Like the basics work. Like people try and reinvent the wheel, but the fucking keeping to the foundations of shit. We talked about Louis Simmons as well a little bit. Like as a seagull drifting around my house.
I feel like Ramblers last one.
Have you got? Oh, dearie me.
Nat, what's that?
No, tell us all about West Side Barbell. Yeah, we have. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming on and saving the show.
Oh, hardly. It was good before.
Does anyone want an old mic?
I also have one I can give away now that I've got my fancy.
Ooh, got your arm. Oh, you got a Rhoda one. I haven't. Yours is better than mine.
Mine's got like a foam cover on it.
Oh, and it makes a good noise. I call her Stephanie. I call her Stephanie. Anyway, right.
Like the mic arm now.
Good. Makes you feel
hasn't
authoritative.
yet.
And you've put a flag over your bookcase at the back there. It's good.
Yeah.
Nice. I really need a wee. West side at 50 kilos on my back squat, my arse got bigger and quads. Yeah, there is a lot of posterior loading. I have to sit on the leg extension like 3 times a week and just jack up my quad.
Fergie, if you haven't, go back and listen to Tudor Magda.
All right.
Show. That was really good. He's part of West Side Barbell.
Ah, okay.
So
I just thought
he's coached. No, he's coached by the guys at West Side.
Oh, cool. I might actually watch it.
It was an interesting episode.
Mm.
Especially I joined when they were talking about West Side, and it was good.
Okay, cool. Spanish squats, I agree. However, when you've got old bad knees, there's certain really good stuff for squats that just isn't manageable at the moment. Bodybuilding work is, I find, a lot better. So, yeah. Accessories, right?
Right.
Thanks, sir. Yeah. Right. Everyone else, stay gay and have an amazing day. Are you going to be in the chat later? Chat shit.
We will be back on at 8 p.m. on the Glintons channel.
Yeah, 6 hours 22 minutes time. We'll both see you then, and we'll be naked. Maybe. All right.
I'm always naked under my clothes.
All right. Bye.
Stay
Have a
gay.
nice day.